Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Wednesday, July 26, around 9 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. Shishaldin Volcano, 5th eruptive phase, blasting ash into the atmosphere 15,000 feet. Keep calm. It's boom time. Have you heard? Could be a world record. Not. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. South Florida ocean temperature hits 101 Fahrenheit in a black puddle. More rounds of strong storms in Minnesota possible Thursday and Friday. Full forecast coming up in a moment. And have you seen this? Do not go out into this hailstorm ever. Absolute insanity in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I've always enjoyed the pitter-patter of a hailstorm. Sure, I've heard stories about the oversized hailstones that fall elsewhere. And there have been the occasional storms in Utah that have brought ice big enough to damage cars and property. And that's why we live here in Pagosa Springs. Hail seldom gets more than 2 centimeters. And we'll have more on that in just a moment. Now, on with the fake record in South Florida, where everyone is now parroting the fact that ocean temperatures topped 100 degrees and potentially a record. Could this be true, 101 Fahrenheit? It is true, but the only problem is with the data collection. Let's go over it so that it's very clear what's going on here, which is a scam. A data collecting buoy in Florida recorded an ocean temperature at Manatee Bay, Florida of over 100 degrees Monday. Now, this is a few degrees hotter than the hottest recorded temperature ever in an ocean, which is in Kuwait, by the way. But let's get on with the facts here. Yeah, that's where it is right here. The existing record for the hottest ocean surface temperature is 99.7. That's in clear ocean like this. That's the actual temperature. So this is not what they recorded. This is not at all what they recorded here. They recorded some terrible temperatures in the muck. Now, according to the record, or the account of the record, it's critically hot reading. This is a critically hot reading for an ocean. But the fact is that this is not an ocean reading. They then go on to say it's especially concerning for the coral reefs in the area. Well, yeah, because the area in question was a black puddle of muck, not actual clear ocean water. And a shallow black puddle of muck in the tropics can heat up to hundreds of degrees, 110 or more. Now, the buoys that recorded this are inside of Florida Bay. So that's to the north of the Florida Keys and south of the Florida Peninsula. And they were in very shallow, murky, dark water. According to Bertadelli, who is the fraudster here, because it's murky and because it's contaminated with sediment, the water is black and it's absorbing heat. The water temperatures are reflective of the fact that the darker surface absorbs more heat, and it cannot be a record. Bernadelli said that the unique qualities of the area meant it's not really comparable to most water measurements, which are much lower, and which are in more clear water that have a little bit more tidal movement. So this is a fraud in plain sight that everyone in the mainstream media is parroting and puppeting as if it has something to do with you and this fake global warming, climate change narrative, which I am absolutely sick of. Here's the forecast. Southwest continues to bake because it's the middle of summer. Hello. Central and East U.S. heat wave coming. But record lows are coming in August for most of the Northeast and the Central U.S. Stay tuned for more updates. An upper-level system may produce storms capable of damaging winds, tornadoes, large hail, and heavy rain in the Great Lakes. The tail end of this system may also spark severe storms in the plains, critical fire weather in place for parts of the northwestern U.S. and the interior Alaska, so don't flick your cigarette butts out the window. And here's what I mean. Here we're looking at Sunday, July 23rd, record cold on the coast, even though it's hot on land. And take a look at those blue areas. Those are 4 to 6 degrees below normal, but no one is reporting on that. And as we enter August, Well, let's just get to it. Take a look at the record lows in the Northeast. This is 16 to 20 degrees below normal for Philadelphia. New Jersey, you probably won't be going to the beach that day. It will be chilly. And these colds are going to continue to push down from Canada in the first week of August, with record colds in South Dakota, Nebraska, and all of the Northeast, 20 degrees below normal. This will not make the headlines, but this is the pattern that's developing for the end of summer. What a bummer. It's going to be record cold in many places in the east. Like a beast. And the precipitation is no joke. Precipitation all the way across the country, even in the driest regions. The monsoon has kicked in, and this is through August 11th, looking like most of Nevada will be experiencing rain. Some of South California getting up to 1 to 2 inches in many places. And the Four Corners, well, getting the monsoon moisture that we so need. Antarctic plunges to minus 83.2 C. That is negative 117.8 Fahrenheit. And that's the Earth's lowest temperature since 2017. As they claim, it is the hottest month and year ever recorded on Earth. I doubt it. Now, how big must hailstones be to damage your photovoltaic system? Well, the reason I chose my location is because hail doesn't get 3 centimeters here. Almost never. But many areas in the U.S., especially west of the Continental Divide, get hail that's huge. 4, 5, 6, 7 inches, which will completely destroy your solar system if you have one. Hailstorms that occurred recently in northern Italy damaged several photovoltaic systems. According to PV magazine in Italy, hail up to 20 centimeters in diameter has fallen in the last week. That is well above the 3 centimeter diameter threshold for damage. So if you live in an area with hail above 3 centimeters, you need to build some sort of a protective grid above it using hardware cloth and a wood network. This may reduce the amount of sun that reaches your PV by a few percent, but it will be worth it in the long run because it will prevent your entire photovoltaic array from being destroyed. Seismic update, big 6.4 happening earlier today in Vanuatu. No tsunami warning or threat. Many aftershocks, very large ones of 5.5 just occurring moments ago, and an increased activity of seismicity in the west, but nothing beyond normal background. Now, under pressure, there's volcanic activity surrounding the Klamath Basin. Heads up, Pacific Northwest. Oregon is among the top 5 states in the country for recent and potential volcanic activity, and there have been some upticks in the region. So, if you don't know about the volcanic threat in the Pacific Northwest and you live there, please do your homework. Here we are over at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, and you see in the last week there has been an uptick at Mount St. Helens. This is an ongoing uptick, which has been going on now for months, and we're going to keep a close eye on this as there has been a cacophony, a small flurry of activity at St. Helens in the Pacific Northwest. Also, pretty good activity, 19 earthquakes in the last 30 days at Rainier, and a new uptick at Mount Baker. 5 earthquakes in just the last 10 days. Holy macaroni. Stay tuned for more boom. Worldwide volcano news update. Santo Huito, Sabancay to 24,000, Sangay to 21. We've also got Semaru to 14,000 feet, Nuvado de Ruiz, 20,000. Shishaldin, 15,000 feet for the 5th boom in the last week and a half, the 5th eruptive phase following intensifying tremor at Shishaldin. It's like a movie. Well, here's a movie over at Iceland, day 17 of the volcanic eruption. Take a look at that. The entire cinder cone that's been building here is now occluded, and there's just vents moving lava slowly away from it as a huge lava lake has formed. Fantastic footage from Afar TV and Ruv.is. Give him a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell him Diamond sent you. Space weather news update. Let's take a look at the latest HMI intensity as we are just a few sunspots peppering the disk, moving, and not really providing much activity. Some minor M flare activity over the last 36 hours. Nothing spectacular. We did have a small geomagnetic disturbance as that coronal mass ejection reached us a little early, folks. And we are expecting more fireworks in the coming days. As you can see, the 3-day geomagnetic forecast predicting tomorrow getting back up into low-level G1 geomagnetic storm due to a coronal mass ejection forecast to be coming at us. Not from this one, but a faint CME produced Tuesday. Now, have you heard about the Millennium Falcon comet? Well, it sprouted icy wings as it loops around the sun. Comet 12P, Pons-Brooks, headed for its close encounter with the sun next year, has started to heat up, leading to a cinematic outburst of icy volcanism. This is complete nonsense and is absolutely not what's happening. Comets don't have ice on them. We've landed on them. And the fact that they're even publishing this at Scientific American means it's a sharticle. But the pictures are fantastic. Take a look at the wing disk. Comet 12P Pons-Brooks. Absolutely spectacular. All the links will be below to everything we talked about tonight. So go get them. As volunteers are working to save nearly 100 beached whales in Australia due to the weakening magnetosphere and the shifting magnetic poles. More than half have died. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the whales. And more gobbledygook nonsense coming from the green bad deal that's polluting the planet. A ship carrying 3,000 cars, electric cars, off the Dutch coast is now burning uncontrollably. One crew member is dead. People jumping off of the rim of the ship that's like 70 feet above the water. Some of them were injured simply from the splashdown. But it's these electric cars that don't make any sense, last barely 70,000 miles, cost $70,000, and cost more carbon dioxide, 3 times as much as a regular oil-burning car. Absolute stupidity. The planet is being driven to destruction by corrupt policies. And you know about recycling? It's been going on for decades. It's a scam. It has done more harm than good to the planet, just like the Green New Deal, electric vehicles, wind turbines, and all the other garbage, well, that is polluting the earth and not saving anyone. Whistleblower tells Congress the U.S. is concealing a multi-decade program that captures UFOs, and we've got aliens. Can you believe it? I think that this propaganda is a cover for something that is about to happen. Now, don't do what this family did. Don't think you're going to pack up the kids, a couple tents, and move into the wilderness and wild harvest and just live off grid to get away from it all. Because it will end in tragedy, especially if you have no idea what you're doing. 2 sisters and a teenage son moved to Colorado campsite in the worst place in the entire state to try to live off grid, in the high elevation of Gunnison County. It's the coldest place on earth for the most part. It can get down to minus 50 degrees in the winter. And 2 sisters and a teenage son moved out there to live off canned food. They wanted to take a break from the world that distressed them, according to the local coroner, and they froze to death. There is no way you can survive minus 50 degrees in early winter in a tent. I don't care who you are. And these people learned the hard way that trying to live off grid, if you are clueless, is a death sentence. And that is a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned from the powers that be that don't want you to know this information. Become a Patreon, support the work we do. We love you. Be safe, and that is a boom.